Grow Legacy. Today we're so grateful to have Mr. Richard Yardley with us here today to give us a presentation. He's an engineering graduate from Stanford University and has made a huge impact in both business, engineering, as well as the intersection of both. So without further ado, can we get a huge round of applause for Mr. Yardley?
Oh, that was huge. That was good. My name is Richard Yardley. Like you, I went to high school, so I can relate to you. All right, we'll leave that one time. I got out of college, and I don't think college did me a whole lot of favors. What you guys are doing here is exceptional. Being in a class like this, being in a school like this, you're getting a way head start on life. And kudos to you. Keep working hard. Be thankful for what you have. I felt like my schooling started about my sophomore year in high school, took me backward. So you guys are on the right track. Whatever you're doing, keep doing. So I went to Newport Harbor High School, in this area. Then went on to Stanford, where I had a lot of fun. One thing about a school like that is you do have stiff competition. My first chemistry test in high school, I was always the first one done with every test. And as I'm finishing the third problem, they call test due. So I got an F triple minus on my first test in college. Got an A on the final because I figured it out. So that was kind of old school. Today, I think you all advanced much more quickly. I went in cold with the SAT. There was no such thing as preparing for stuff like that. You guys are much better prepared. But just the life lesson is sometimes you learn really hard lessons. They're going to pay dividends. If you can learn ahead of time, that's better. Okay. What do I do on a daily basis? I run a company. I have 18 employees, and my job is to keep them productive. At this point, I've worked myself out of a job. I have zero day-to-day responsibilities. I work harder and do more than anyone at the company because I come in the morning and the problems present themselves to me. The reason I can do that is I have decades of experience of being in the trenches solving problems myself. Whatever you do the absolute best you can. If they tell you to clean the toilets, I want that. I want people to come out of that bathroom saying, that was an exceptionally clean bathroom. I want to be the best in the world at whatever I do. And that should be your goal, not to be the boss. The way I run my company, I'm the slave of all my employees. They serve our customers. I want my customers to be ecstatically happy. So I've got to give my team the tools they need to do their job properly. So I call it shoveling coal into the firebox of the company. Give our people the resources they need to be productive and to bring value to our customers. Human resources is really important. You got to have a lot of training. How you treat your people matters. You got to treat your people well, but they've got to be productive. And so how do you handle the tension between motivating them? I use a lot more carrot than stick. Some people use more stick than carrot. Either approach can work. You kind of got to match your style. How do we impact the world? We work on healthcare facilities. We work on laboratories, healthcare facilities, hospitals. We want patients to get exceptional care. Our systems in a room like this, you got to make sure that you're putting in more clean air than you're taking out. It sounds like it's easy to do. It's actually not that easy to do. We make sure that the operating suite always stays exceptionally clean, and we can turn it way down when it's not in use. But when we turn it down, we keep the same ratio of supply air to exhaust air as an absolute ratio. So we're always pushing clean air out the door. Other people, when they try to turn it down, oops, the room started sucking instead of blowing, and now you've got a contaminated clean room. You've got a leak there. So what are my main skills? Mechanical engineering, and I'm always learning. I always say my superpower is when I walk into a room, I know I'm the dumbest guy in that room. Sounds counterintuitive, but if you're the smartest guy in the room, you got nothing to learn. Always be learning. Yeah, you're learning here in high school. I tell you, I learned 10 times as much every day out in the real world as I ever learned inside the classroom. But classrooms weren't as good as this, so I caveat that. This is a great school you got. So this was one of the labs we designed. I2SL is the International Institute for Sustainable Laboratories. A building that we did got first place internationally for the most sustainable lab, outperforming 96% of similar facilities. So we designed that building. I go in once a month and I talk to the guy who runs that building and say, how can we squeeze another drop of efficiency out of this? And by the way, the researchers all love working in the lab. This is an aquarium. It's kind of cool. You see the ocean water there. Anyway, it's kind of a cool building architecturally, but mechanically, it's incredibly efficient and yet incredibly comfortable. So that's the kind of stuff we do. I graduated college, and I was telling on the way in, it took me 5 years out of college to get to where I think you guys are today. College took me back. Doesn't have to, but that's what it did for me. So if you pour yourself into your studies and do really well, maybe you can do well. I wasn't into studies. I played volleyball, got invited to play on the Olympic team. I was into volleyball. I was into sports. I wasn't into girls because girls weren't into me. So who helped you? Everybody. Everybody. I can't, there's not enough time to thank all the people who helped me get to where I am. There are really good people out there, people who really want you to succeed, and they'll help you a lot. And you want to just go thank them. But usually they'll say, don't thank me, go do your job. And so inwardly you're thankful, outwardly you give them some appreciation. When I was at Stanford, the head of the business school got up at the beginning, first day of biz school, and he talked about two business owners. This guy is kind and benevolent, very successful, does a great job. This guy, ruthless, Jack Welch, GE, cut 10% of your staff, rule with an iron fist. And the class talked about who you want to be. Well, everybody likes this guy. He's nice, he's very successful, but he's nice, he treats his employees well. And at the end of the discussion period, he said, our goal at Stanford Biz School is to turn you into this guy. Gavel down, boom, 2 years of hell. That was Stanford. And a lot of the biz schools are that way. UCLA was that way. USC was more collaborative. And I'm talking 45-year-old data, so don't think this still applies. But you got to decide who you want to be. You know, I say this, Steve Jobs said the most common word to describe him began with an A in the whole. So sometimes you don't have to have people skills. I think they're very important. My employees, they would all take a vote for me, and I take a vote for them. We create that kind of collaborative environment. In the summers, I worked at Disneyland instead of at an engineering firm, because engineering came easy to me. But I want to know how to treat people well. My brother was my boss. Leadership, there's different ways to lead. You can lead by serving, or you can lead by leading the charge. And depending on the situation, when a tough situation comes up, I jump right in front and I handle it. But mostly I just serve my people so that they can continue to serve our customers. Public speaking, very important. Small lesson, I took a speech class in junior high school. And the teacher would call on each one of the 30 students. It's like, not me, not me, not me, not me, not me, not me. And you do that all week long. And finally it occurred to me, that's pretty stupid, because she asked for volunteers. So Monday morning, first one up. Why first one up? Why not wait to get more prepared? I never got more prepared. What was coming out was going to come out anyway. So first thing Monday morning, I did my speech, boom, done. The rest of the class, study hall for a whole week. I could do whatever I wanted to. Anyway, so think things through a little bit. Don't think, oh, I hate this. Think, okay, I hate this, but it's inevitable, and maybe if I do this, then I can move on to something better. Technology. Within our company, we used Apple computers exclusively for our first 15 years. Great machines, beautifully built. I live my life somewhat as a business owner by models. Steve Jobs was a pattern to me, not in being an a-hole, but he was absolutely brilliant the way he approached things. I listen to his speeches to this day. Today, Elon Musk. I'm not talking about politics. I'm just talking about the guy is unbelievable the way he runs his companies, and there's a reason his companies outperform everyone else. So I have models that I follow. So we used Apple products, but then Apple migrated away from Intel processors. They created their own processors, which are acknowledged to be better processors for computing, but they can't run PC programs. And a lot of legacy engineering software runs on PCs. So I no longer use Apple products. We're leaders in the building automation industry. Our industry builds buildings like this, and the buildings communicate, the lighting systems, the door access systems, the HVAC, heating, ventilating, air conditioning. It all communicates via a language called BACnet. And so we've become experts in the BACnet protocol and implementing the BACnet protocol. When we do our things, we know, because we're mechanical engineers, we know what devices have the best physical properties, and then we wrap the best software around it to give the best solution to our customers. So we have to know the physical side, we have to know the computer side. Even my friend who's won the robotics competition at MIT said, even if you want to be mechanical, get a Raspberry Pi processor and start playing with it, start programming, start doing things with it. Expand your breadth. You know, in my days, it was chemistry and biology and physics. Today, everything's multidisciplinary. So you probably already know this, but it was new to me, so I thought it was exciting. So, entrepreneurship, started my own company in 2000. I was already established in my old company, thankfully, in a niche area, so I didn't have to pursue customers. The customers all came to me. But when you run a business, you got to keep your employees happy. You got to keep your suppliers happy. You got to hope that the screen events are working. You have symbiotic partners. I provide products, but I want them installed. So I work with an installer. I worked with this installer for 35 years. They're awesome. The first job I went to, Scripps Research on a lab, and this guy, the owner said, use this electrician. So I used him, and he wired the first floor wrong. He went against my wiring diagrams. Why'd you do that? Well, because green is ground. Okay, green is ground for a line voltage system. This is low voltage, class 2 wiring. Nobody's gonna get shot. You don't have to use green for ground. I always use green for feedback on all my buildings. Could you please, but we'll redo the first floor, but for the second floor up, could you please follow our wiring diagram? And I'm talking to the boss of the firm. He goes, wait, you gave us wiring diagrams, we deviated from those wiring diagrams, and now you want us to go back to your wiring diagrams from second up, and you're gonna fix the first floor. I said, yeah. He said, unacceptable. I go, what's that? He goes, we screwed up, we went against your direction, we're gonna go fix the first floor, and then we'll fix the floor. I thought, okay, that's a guy, that was 35 years ago, and I've given him $2 million in business this year, so he's happy. But find people you can work with who share your values, and you don't have to do everything. You don't have to be all things to all people. You got to treat your customers well. Again, if you don't have employees, you don't have a company, you got to treat them well. Your suppliers, you got to treat well. Your customers, you got to treat well. And eventually bring value wherever you go. So how do you form a great company? I'm a big fan of Jim Collins. He's a business author, ironically from Stanford. I don't have a lot of respect for Stanford, but I do have a lot of respect for Jim Collins. He wrote in his book, Good to Great, he must have said it dozens of times, whatever you do, you should be able to be the best in the world. You may not be today, but you should be able to be. You should strive to be the best. And that's what we do. I believe we are the best in the world at what we do, but we're always getting better. There's a lot of room to grow. So be great at what you do and strive to keep being better. The right people don't need to be tightly managed. As Jim Collins says, the minute you feel you got to tightly manage someone, you've probably made a hiring mistake. Find someone who shares your values and just takes off in the lane and in the way that you want them to take off. Early on, they may need a little management, but not tightly managed. The right people understand they don't have jobs, and don't just do tasks, they have responsibilities. You got to deliver a final product. Your job isn't just to check a few boxes and say you're done. The right people fulfill their commitments. They're sacred. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. And if it becomes impossible, you communicate and apologize, mea culpa, whatever you got to do. But fulfill your commitments. And the right people are passionate about the company's work. He says, great companies have almost cult-like personalities, and our company's like that. Everybody in our company, this week I got 6 letters from employees saying, I never want to work anywhere else, thank you for letting me work in this company. And I'm just thankful to all get out to do work with us. So it's good to have that kind of relationship. It's taken us 25 years to kind of get to where we are. I'm not saying you go for that out of the box, but you want them to be passionate about the company. They're just going through the motions, that's okay. When you go to a McDonald's cashier, they're probably not going to be passionate about their job, but I would be. When I worked at Disneyland, it was like going to Disneyland every day, which you think, well, but to most employees it wasn't. It was just a job. To me, it was a passion. I wanted to make people happy, have a great experience. Thank you.